Inside this tiny, claustrophobic room, time is sold in rapid increments. Clients cycle in and out, renting space for 5, 10, or 30 minutes. The floor and the areas right beneath the bed are heavily stocked with hundreds of condoms, the primary tools for the relentless pace of a typical day. Sharing that exact same space is a completely different set of objects. There are colorful makeup kits, fresh roses resting in water, small shrines to Hindu gods, and stacks of school textbooks. The outside world looks at a room like this and assumes it is a den of absolute victimization. From this perspective, the women inside are helpless captives in a criminal underworld that must be shut down by force. The women working here identify as Laingik Kamgar, or sex laborers. They explicitly reject the label victim. Their economic philosophy is entirely pragmatic. They argue that providing a sexual service is labor, comparable to a shopkeeper selling a bag of sugar. They provide a specific service, collect their fee, and maintain their autonomy. The tiny room under the ceiling fan functions as a strict, heavily regulated workspace where professional women exercise intense personal agency. The women strictly control the finances, evaluating every client who approaches. Based on an assessment of a customer's wealth, they demand anywhere from 350 to 500 rupees per session, setting the price before anyone enters the room. They also enforce rigid physical boundaries. Many refuse to kiss clients, preserving that intimacy for personal partners. When clients try to negotiate their way out of wearing protection, the women simply agree downstairs, lead them up, and put the condom on them anyway. The relationships built in these rooms can be surprisingly complex. Some clients return consistently for up to 17 years, never visiting anyone else. They arrive on strict schedules, treating the women as close confidants to discuss their wives, jobs, and deepest personal problems. Stepping outside the individual rooms, the entire building functions as a coordinated support system. Each house is run by a garwali, a manager who collects daily rent, cleans corridors, and cooks hot meals so the women can focus entirely on their shifts. This deep sense of community is rooted in the history of these streets. Decades ago, these dense neighborhoods were respected hubs for classical musicians and even housed India's most legendary singers, like Bharat Ratna Lata Mangeshkar. The original sex workers who migrated to these lanes brought rich singing and dancing traditions with them. They were skilled artists who frequently formed long-term, quasi-marital relationships with their patrons, demanding both financial stability and social recognition for their children. The brothel economy functions as a highly structured, self-sustaining ecosystem built on decades of deeply interwoven cultural roots. The most persistent dangers to these women originate from their interactions with the respectable outside world. When workers leave the district to seek basic health care, hospital staff frequently recoil at their addresses. Nurses and doctors often refuse to provide standard medical treatment solely because a patient lives in the red light district. The most intense violence comes from the state itself. During police raids, officers tasked with upholding the law frequently subject the women to severe beatings with wooden sticks. In one highly documented and terrifying instance, a single worker was repeatedly assaulted by over 30 different officers in just one single night. Even when the state attempts to help, it often backfires. Under the guise of saving trafficking victims, authorities conduct forced rescues, essentially kidnapping consenting adult women who never ask to leave their jobs. This flowchart shows the trap. After a raid, women are locked inside correction homes. The state refuses to release them until a legal guardian arrives. Ignoring their autonomy and financial needs, 70% of rescued women walk right back into the district to resume work. State-mandated rehabilitation often operates as a socially acceptable form of violence, inflicting significantly more trauma and disruption than the daily realities of their actual labor. The motivation to endure this level of systemic abuse is found in where the money actually goes once a shift ends. Behind closed doors, many of these women are simply mothers. They absorb the extreme societal stigma of their profession, specifically to afford school fees, ensuring their children never have to rely on the district to survive. They are also investing in themselves. Some workers are picking up textbooks, returning to school after 20-year absences, and successfully passing their 10th and 12th grade state board exams. Still, The broader public looks at them through the lens of izat, the cultural concept of honor. Because they sell sex, society weaponizes this idea, classifying these women as disposable and devoid of dignity. Patriarchal standards tie a woman's honor strictly to her body, even as the male clients who drive the demand face zero social or moral repercussions for the exact same transaction. The ultimate indignity lies in a society that quietly demands these services in the dark, only to deny these women their basic humanity in the light.